is waiting. Let's get it on. It's all presented. All winter long.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys freaking rule. We have one of my favorite jumper guys in the air style of all time. We have Scotty Lago on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on, boss. How you been?
Yeah, I've been well, man. Thanks so much. And stoked to, I guess, officially meet you. I know we've known of each other for a while, and somehow our paths didn't really cross. But yeah, fired up to be here and talk boarding.
Totally. I was like a semi-pro Canadian boarder, where I would say that, you know, you damn well deserve to be an international superstar, because holy shit, dude, I binge watched all your footage, man. You done did it, eh? You had some phenomenal standout years where you were just better than everybody, and that must have felt awesome. Just like, even if you weren't taking the W's down in the contest world, it was like the video parts that you were stacking when you were stacking were just
yeah. I built the whole career off like third places.
Oh, dude, I
think I won like
into you for a while, dude. I mean, maybe you're disappointed with your contest results, but I was just disappointed that you stopped snowboarding, because I was like looking up to you for a lot of inspiration, and then you stopped. Like, really going into the video parts. I get it. You have a family and stuff. You got to prioritize things. But me as a fan, I was mad at you, dude.
I know. And I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry to let you down. But it's actually kind of rad, though. It's crazy. Like, I don't know. Obviously, it's crazy because I'm not boarding nearly as much as I was. You know, I'll be riding in the summer at Mount Hood, or, you know, go out to Whistler or New Zealand or South America. And then be right on the board in, you know, late November, early December. And now it's just fully changed. It's just like, I don't really have to be, I'm not competing, so I don't have to like be on my board like right away. It'd always be kind of like the worst conditions too. I'd be like forcing it, like all man-made snow here on the East Coast, just like trying to get like the feel for my riding, you know, like breaking in new boots. Like, you don't want anyone to see you. You know what I mean? You're just like, all right, I feel like a total kook, right? I'm wearing my mask and I'm just going to be riding Killington, like on this one trail that's open. But yeah, it's kind of crazy like that, where it's just, that's all I've known forever. It's just like board and go right away. Now I'm just kind of chilling and kind of picking my days.
Are you retired, or do you have a new source of income, something else that's, you know, are you busy working on that? Like, are you trades now? Are you doing anything, or do you have any coming up?
No, I'm not doing any trades or anything like that. I'm always trying to acquire certain skills, because, you know, I dedicated my life to snowboarding. I learned nothing else. No, so I have my snowboard brand, Lego Snowboard. So I do that. I don't give it the attention that it kind of needs. You know, it's to really build it into a bigger brand. Like, my boards are awesome. Like, they're great. I totally stand behind my boards. But to like kind of build it up a little bit more, I just kind of, it's a little bit secondary for me, you know. So I do that. And
that's it.
What's that?
It said it's kind of like a passion project, but that's sick.
It is. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. I love it, and it's relatively easy, you know. And that's because I'm not doing any shops or anything like that. I just do all online. So I get the boards made. You know, I work with an artist. You know, tune them up with a factory. They ship them to my house, and when I get an order, I just box them up and ship them out.
Oh, so you don't have like a middleman there. So it must be a little bit cheaper to do that whole process if you don't have, like, I don't know, reps and stuff like that. I'm imagining you're kind of cutting out that middleman to save some cash.
Yeah, no reps. And then, you know, selling to shops. I tried getting in shops for a while, and I wasn't a handful of shops, but it's really tough. You know, it kind of requires kind of like a full-time gig, you know. I get shafted by quite a few shops, just like literally just like not paying you. You just have to like go knock on the door. I'm like, come on, what is this? So I just it's just a lot easier online. And then, yes, it's very hard to buy a board online because it's like, you can't see it, you can't feel it or whatever, but more people out there riding the boards, I think is helping. So
Big time. I mean, if you have a product that other people are liking, that's the word you want. You know what I mean? If you have a little community of people that are riding your decks and they really like them, that'll just, word of mouth is the best way of marketing anyway. You know what I mean? If someone loves your board, they love your board.
totally. I mean, I haven't heard otherwise, but who the hell's going to come up to me and be like, dude, tried your board. It just sucks. You know, it just sucks.
Especially when you're wearing a mask and you're like, you know, you got your new stiff boots and you're like, I'm not Scotty Lago. Like, don't come up to me,
like,
bro.
I know, I heard it. Yeah, like, dude, just like positive stance, dude, riding backwards.
That's kind of sick, though. You know, you're free to you have endless amounts of opportunity to do whatever you want to now. You got this place. We'd spoken a little bit before we started recording here that you've been doing a lot of housework. You got a dope pad. You were on the hammock, but the Wi-Fi wasn't that good. What kind of yard work, what kind of chores you got going on this summer?
Dude, you name it, dude. You just gotta wake up and just look outside and then just pick away at projects, you know. I fully like redid my barn. So it was all live on like an old like horse property. So there was all kinds of horse stalls in the barn. But you know, I don't have horses, not obviously, but I don't have any horses. So I just picked away at all the stalls to kind of get more room. I'm out mowing my lawn, you know, a lot of mowing. I'm out weed whacking. You know, I was fixing my fence yesterday, redoing the stone wall. I live on a like a lazy river, like a I want to say lazy river. I don't know, lazy river.
There's
slowly
a little right in
flowing,
front of your place,
know,
little creek.
meanders. But there's a stone wall that runs along. I redid that stone wall. Just you know the basic stuff, basic homeowner shit. You know, getting some solar. I'm gonna try to go fully off the grid, which kind of excites me.
What's so solar though? That's pretty sick. Is that a really expensive transition to undertake at the beginning, but long term it's beneficial, you think? Or what's the reason?
So like it's decently expensive, but then you get a pretty insane federal tax credit, and like the sooner you do it, the more of it, you know, like if I were to wait to next year, they drop it at another 5% or whatever. So it's like you get like 15 to 20% tax credit, you know. So like that's just all money that I can just use for taxes, which is pretty chill. And then it's just a long-term investment. And then on top of it, I have to get a new boiler. So I have forced hot air radiators. And that's going to be like another 10, 12,000. So I was like, instead of doing that, I'd rather just go solar and just do it that way. So
I like solar. Do you have an electric car? Are you going to switch to the full program, or?
I don't have an electric car. I would love one.
Have you driven one?
Yeah, I've never actually driven one. I've driven in them, and I'm like, they just blow me away. They're just like head and heels. They're just better at like every single freaking facet of the cars.
My good friend.
No, I got a Ford Raptor that I've had for a while. I got a Volvo XC60, which I won at the U.S. Open years ago, and I have like 200,000 miles on that thing, and I'm just gonna drive that thing right into the ground. And I have a 1979 Ford Ranger. So some trucks and a car.
Nice. That's you. I just bought a newer Toyota Tacoma. I only bought it because I bought a Nissan Titan. The Titan just got destroyed, fell apart. I sold it for peanuts, like $1,000 after 10 years. Belzil, who bought a Tacoma at the exact same time as me, sold his truck for 10 years later for 10 grand. I was like, damn it. Like, so I was like, fuck, I'm just going to, and in BC for whatever reason, they just retain their value so well. So I was like, okay, I'm not buying another truck where I lose 100% of my money. I'm going to buy a Tacoma where at least I only lose half over 10 years, which is like $1,000 a year to use, which I can justify. But that same person, Belzil, who I'm talking about, just bought a Tesla. And he let me drive it. I've never driven one, and he got like one of the nicer ones, a little bit more souped up. And
Rocket ship.
he was chirping me for driving too slow. So I went in the pass lane and he's like, yeah, it's open, dude. Like pass a couple of these cars. And I've never really, tested an electric throttle before. And I stepped on the gas and I went from like 60 to 160 in like 4 seconds. And he's passed like 6 cars. It was wild.
Dude, that's amazing.
I highly recommend that nobody does that, but I underestimated the power of the car and I was already committed to the pass. So I had to do it.
Yeah, no, dude, I hear you. Yeah, it's just like instant power. It's just right there, no lag. Yeah, they're next level.
Yeah,
that's cool though. Yeah, the market's insane for used cars right now. I can see where he got like made extra 10 grand on you. That's crazy.
Yeah, same thing in Canada here. Everyone's giving you tax breaks too on buying electric, anything that's like sustainable. They're like throwing kind of money in that direction.
Yeah.
A question I had for you, to take this back a little bit, just so people can kind of get a little bit of an understanding from an upbringing standpoint. Where did you grow up and what was childhood like for you?
Yeah. So I grew up on the East Coast of the States, New Hampshire, right on the seacoast. So I was a couple hours away from the mountains. I'd ride mountains like Loon Mountain, Waterville Valley, Stratton Mountain. I mean, there's a billion different mountains around there. I rode a lot in Vermont, Mount Snow, and yeah, I just kind of bounced around and started doing local contests. And my dad would rally me up there, do a contest, and I loved it, and I did a series back in the day called the Green Mountain Series. It's where like the next older group was Danny Cass, Kelly Clark, Ross Powers, Lane Knack, Chris Hatt. A lot of the Grenade people came out of that, and then a lot of, obviously Ross and Kelly, the Olympians, and Danny. So it was a good group of boarders to ride with. And to look up to. So yeah, I mean, I loved all sports. Like I used to play football and baseball. I rode BMX when I was a kid. I was hunting in the fall a little bit. I kind of did it all, but I fell in love with snowboarding and I set my mind to it. And I was just like, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to snowboard like as much as I possibly can. And so I was getting, I was going to a regular school, like middle school. Then I tried a year of homeschooling my freshman year of high school. And it was kind of the wrong program. you're supposed to have kind of a parent there to help you with it. But my parents were, working full time. So it was me like literally grading my own papers. Just a very slippery slope. Yeah. Just did not work. So I actually, I never finished freshman year of high school. I asked my dad, I was like, hey, like, can I take a month off and go out west and snowboard and stuff? And for whatever reason, he gave me permission. And then 1 month turned to 2 months, 3 months turned to 4. And then I never looked back, and here I am 33 years old and with a freshman, an 8th grade education. Yeah.
No way. You bounced it at an 8th grade. That's like legendary. Yeah. That's like old fashioned style. Cause I feel like a lot of like our parents' generation, I know like quite a few people that are in that like 50 plus category that just like didn't go to school, but it's so the norm now to do that, to have to finish that. That's pretty awesome that you had parents that were down to let you pursue your dreams at that young of an age.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely owe a lot to my parents, and it's pretty crazy looking back that they would trust me. Or they're just like, I figured I don't know what. All right, let's go for it. But like, it really wasn't for me. I like think of school. I kind of get the willies, but like, I'm not anything against education. Like, I love it. More educated you are, whatever, the better off you're in life. I just prefer to learn it in different ways. Like right now, I like, geek out and go on YouTube and you can learn essentially whatever the hell you want,
It's so
Um,
sick.
but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but it's a
So
lot of snowboarding.
yeah, that's amazing. You're a dad now. Would
Yeah.
you think that in like, I don't know, 12 years, because you have a child, how old, just for some reference?
He is a year old.
Yeah, a year. So in, 15 years, he goes, Dad, I love whatever, surfing, skating, or whatever he falls in love with, hockey. And he's like, I'm going to drop out of school and go to this. Do you go, all right?
Dude, I honestly wonder what the schooling criteria might be in 15 years. It might be fully changed up.
We
It's
hope
just,
so.
yeah, no, totally. I don't know. I mean, I could very much be down for that. As long as he's not like, as long as he's doing something and he's passionate about it, you know what I mean? And he has goals, then I'm down for that. But if he's just out drifting, and wasting his time, then absolutely not.
Yeah, totally. I like that, especially at a young
smackdown, dude. It got to be a strict dad. No.
No, you seem too fun and easygoing. But if we take this back to snowboarding, and your heroes being Kelly Clark and Ross and Danny and stuff like that, what was it like to be surrounded by that group, being the Grom coming up in that same community?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I don't know. It was really cool, and it was special to be a part of it. I remember like Danny, when he was kind of winning everything before he went mega pro, he won all nationals and stuff like that. But he was such a punk even when he was a little kid. And like I remember like one time he was on the podium and he won, and it was like him and Lane on the first and second or whatever. And there was like photographer, like local news guys, like, Danny, come here. He's like, let's do an interview with you. And like Danny looks over at Lane. He's like, oh, why don't you come here? I'm like, oh my God. I can't believe this. Like essentially being like, no, I'm the man. Like, why don't you come,
Oh man, that's so sick.
But yeah, I don't know. It was great. It was cool.
Yeah, that would have been exciting times. I couldn't imagine, just from my childhood, there was just nobody famous from a million miles, because I grew up in the middle of Canada, in the middle of nowhere. I couldn't imagine Manitoba, so a small place just outside of Winnipeg called Oakbank. But I couldn't imagine like riding as a kid and having like legit heroes that are like riding at my local hill. Like you're riding the pipe and Danny's dropping in before you, like how that would feel. And did you feel like there was kind of an appreciation, and did they take you under their wing a little bit, or was there like some difference between the two?
So like, well, when I was riding them, like I was very young, so like, Kelly Clark was no one. I mean, Ross Powers was still kind of coming up as well. Danny was still coming up, so like they were still trying to find their path, and they still kind of hadn't made it, so it wasn't like they were my role models at that time. It was more like, damn, these older guys are good, like, we're gonna watch watch this kid on, Danny Cass, it was kind of that style. But
dang, to witness those people kind of blossom into their, like, I don't know, top tier snowboarding roles in life must have been amazing, especially because I'm big fans of all those, especially Danny, and being like a Grenade kid growing up.
Yeah, me stuff. Too. I am too. Absolutely.
That's fucking awesome. When did you start getting enrolled in the contest scene? Like when did that start becoming a big undertaking for you? Because you did that for a long ass time.
Yeah, I did that for a while. I just kind of started messing around, just going out west. I met one of my good buddies, one of my best friends, Mason Aguirre, out of like nationals, whatever. And then I saw him out there, and I was like, "Hey, dude, you think I could like crash in your room? We go boarding?" And he's like, okay. And like I like stayed at his house for like a month. We like rode all the time to June and Mammoth and stuff. We became best friends. But I started messing around doing some like Grand Prix and some maybe some do tours, or really kind of started the U.S. Open. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of started dabbling in it, and I loved filming. I loved watching video parts. Like, my two favorite video parts were probably The True Life and Resistance. Like, all those guys in those movies, I used to watch those movies religiously. So like, that's kind of what I wanted to do as well. But at such a young age, like, I was kind of my dad almost wanted me to compete, to kind of like essentially prove to him that I was kind of doing something in snowboarding, you know what I mean? So yeah, I went down the kind of competing path, and then obviously had the opportunity to film later on. But yeah.
Yeah, Pops doesn't want you just hanging out in California, just getting baked for not in school, just whatever. He's just like,
yeah, Dad, I got it, dude. Can't you have faith, dude?
Can't you have faith?
Dude, I'm eating
a
an
Rasta
avocado
t-shirt
right now,
on.
Dad.
Oh man. So first US Open, you said that was kind of like maybe your first big event there. Do you recall who was at that event and what it was like to be at your first major contest?
Yeah, it was crazy, dude. So I've been to quite a few US Opens. But like, my true heroes back, we're watching Terry Hawkinson like rip the pipe. He was just so much better than everyone. It was just so unbelievable. Him, Mike Michalchuk was also another huge hero of mine. Watching him ride the pipe and jump was just like on a whole other different level, and so big and so like scary for me to watch, just like, oh my God. Like watching those guys shred was pretty damn cool. Yeah, I mean, riders like, Jeff Brushy. Oh God, I can't think right now. I don't know where I was going with this.
No, dude, I just wanted to ask you what it was like for you, your first US Open and what that event was like. And I'm kind of glad you sidetracked into a few of your favorite pros there, because even just the way you depicted Mike Michalchuk is, if anyone knows who that is exactly how everyone feels. Like, he drops into the pipe and you're like, holy hell, what is this psychopath going to do?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you just don't know, just, you would go huge and you would send it. He was nuts. Like, doing what, double chucks. He invented the Michalchuk. Yeah, very impressive to watch. So I actually got to forerun the finals at the US Open when I was a kid. There was like handful of riders, but I dropped in. I had just learned like a crippler, in the pipe. So I'm like, I'm going to do a crippler first hit and just stoke the crowd out, dude. So just like pointed from the top, fucked up on the takeoff, and straight up landed on my head, like in the flats. It was the most traumatic experience ever.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. You're at the top, and before that happened, you're just like, this is my moment.
Oh yeah, no.
5 seconds later, you're in the flat bottoms.
I am gonna be the next Shawn White after I stomp this. Just straight up landed on my head. So that was pretty traumatic. But yeah, just US Open's got so much history, and I remember one time they like, when they first introduced this super pipe, or whatever it's called now, super duper pipe, who knows, 22 feet, and going from like 18 to 22, or it might have even been like whatever it was before 18. But either way, like, I remember riding the pipe and I was like, dude, I was blown away, like how big the pipe was and kind of how scary it was, because I felt like I was riding up the wall forever. And I remember I was at the top of the pipe, and Hawkins just like, yes, it's okay. It's pretty small though, like just a lot smaller than I ever would have thought. I remember just being blown away by that. I'm like, dude, this is the gnarliest thing I've ever laid eyes on, and you want it to be bigger, like. But yeah.
Oh man, I could not. I only grew up riding like full ditch style riding, where you're like kind of, in my case, actually like shaping it yourself, old school style. just if you even wanted there to be a half pipe, because there was like remains of one at our local hill, but there wasn't really one. So you'd have to just shape them out of like giant pieces of snow. And anyways, it sucked. I couldn't imagine it growing up where you grew up on the East Coast riding like a 16 or 18 foot and you add an extra 4 feet of vert down the whole pipe.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. It was my first time coming to Whistler and riding their super pipe. I remember riding up the walls and doing like lip slides and being like, I could not imagine doing what like you and Shawn and everybody and that you inevitably end up doing and launching your carcass 20, 30 feet in the air.
So you were ripping like the hand ditch, like
Straight up, because we didn't
or-
have a pipe dragon or anything like that at our hill.
right.
It was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like it was just some banks. And if you wanted to make a half pipe, you're more than welcome to. And if you're too lazy to make one, it's not going to be built tomorrow.
Yep. That's rad.
Yeah, it was pretty rad. So Dew Tour, X Games, US Open. You did all these for a decade plus and did very well. You didn't end up winning all of them because fucking who cares? But anyways, those three events, was there a favorite between the three? Did you have one that you were like, oh man, the US Open's so sick and the X Games sucks? Or is there one of those events that's
No, I
in
mean,
your mind?
X Games is definitely pretty rad. I mean, anytime you went to X Games, you knew you were going to be riding perfect jumps. Like the slopestyle course was always sick. The pipe was always perfect. You get to stay in a sick house. Like there's nothing about X Games that isn't rad. I loved X Games. Grand Prix and Dew Tours were always kind of just pretty whatever. But yeah, I'd say. I'd have to say X Games. X Games is probably my favorite. X Games and the US Open.
Good to know.
Yeah.
USO, yeah. I have a few friends that are in the contest scene right now. And the last time I asked Mikey Cicerelli, who was a upcoming slopestyle guy from Canada who just started venturing into the backcountry, he was saying that the US Open was his fave. So I was just curious there.
What's Mikey's deal? Is he going for Olympics this year, right?
I don't know if he is anymore. He did a full season with our crew this year in the backcountry. And similar, when I think you kind of started dipping your foot into that, it starts overtaking your mind. I feel like once you start riding POW, I think he might be just dedicating to the video part world right now. But I also don't want to speak on his behalf. But either way, so much talent there. Whenever you're a slopestyle champ and then you venture into the backcountry, it's always kind of special to see the people go from contests into the backcountry. You're like, holy shit, these kids are so good. We've been joking for a decade, like when the next wave of contest kids all buy snowmobiles, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
Like the cab 9 is not going to be like a staple. It's going to be people first try doing switchback 10s.
Yeah, exactly.
Or 12s or 14s or triples.
Yeah, 14s, dude, for sure.
Or 1800s or
or some.
Yeah, what are we at right now?
No clue. Yeah, 18s.
Yeah, I mean, do you miss that contest riding and what energy had to go into that? Or are you kind of like happy that you get to put that mental space towards yard work now?
Dude, it's all about the yard work nowadays, man. No. I do and I don't. Like I miss. There's obviously no better feeling. Like when you land a run and you just put down the run you wanted to and you get on the podium. There's no better feeling like that. There's also no worse feeling when you bail both your runs and you just dedicated a week, to like essentially week of your focus practicing, trying to get your run or whatever, or flying there, it's essentially a week. And you just blew it, and that's like, there's been so many times where I'm like, I'm never competing again. I'm going all filming. I swear to God, I said that like 20 times. But I really don't. I never really loved competing. I loved filming. I love shooting photos and filming. But I really don't miss the competing side of it.
Was there a side of you that got brought out with competing that you didn't like? And the reason why I asked that is because I feel like A lot of my friends who've done contests for a long time, they're like, sometimes I don't even know who I was when I was at those events. Cause you have to be so committed to that event, and you're in a different world when you're in contest riding. Like, you have to turn on to a different mode. And I was never that good at contests, so I never did it. But I'm wondering if that's like kind of hard to turn off and on, you know what I mean? You go into a contest state of mind. That's you're dropping in at a 22-foot half pipe and you have fans everywhere, and then you crippler to the flat bottom and your ego just deflates to zero. Like, fuck, that would suck. You'd be like, no, I'm fucking sick. You should have been here for practice. I laced this run.
You guys, I won practice. Was no one looking? No, it's kind of a love-hate thing. I was never like a fierce, like some people would just like, they would turn the pressure and turn it into a positive. Like, that's what essentially separates the top tier athletes from, the average professionals. I was never really great at doing good under pressure. The less pressure I kind of felt, the better I would ride. Unless I was at a contest and I really felt like everything was kind of handled and I was in a right, I don't know, I was confident with my riding. If I was confident in my riding, then I would have a pretty good, mindset. But a lot of times I was trying tricks that I hadn't really had too much practice with, and I was like, oh, all right, fuck, I gotta do the cab double 10 for a hit. That's scary, more scary than it is fun. So here we go. But
oh my God, dude, I could not imagine trying those tricks in those giant icy half pipes, especially when you don't want to, or the weather's not good, or visibility is low, it's flat light. And I mean, your contest era was a little bit trickier than today's, because I feel like a lot of people in today's contests have pretty good style. I feel like 2005 to 2015, there was a lot of huckers in contests. They would sacrifice the style or the pop or the amplitude or the tweak. Not you. Maybe you didn't take home all the golds, bud, but you were doing snowboarding proud for a decade when you were in those contests. So I'd be like, yes, thank you. Air to fakie with the best grab ever. Anytime you spun with nose grab, like, you fucked that. Yeah. Wow. Definitely inspired a generation of slope style and contest kids to have really good style.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. No, it's crazy. Like, I was just you said something earlier that was kind of brought up, like doing contests, like even in shitty conditions, low light, flat light, wind, like, you're right. Like, you do have to step it up. And like, we would always have a thing, like we would always do a 1080 before 10 in the morning, like no matter what, like 10 before 10, I got to do it, but like that keeps you so good. And like, it keeps you on it. Like, I don't know, like when you're out, if you're not competing, you can really kind of just be like, oh no, like the weather's really not that good. You just don't end up pushing yourself as much as, if you're competing really, really makes you step it up, and it's big like time. Obviously we live in the mountains, we're not having bluebird days every day. So majority of the days are kind of shitty, and gotta go for it.
Yeah, that's a bit that I like that you brought that up, because when you don't have that pressure that contests bring, you if it is not perfect conditions, you just go, oh, I don't have to do that. But the fact that you have to do that and perform under not perfect conditions kind of pushes you and extracts like your fullest potential. Because if you're willing to do a 1080 on a flat light jump, because you did a lot of slope styles too. I feel like we've been talking about pipe a lot, but like whether it's slope style or quarter pipes, which you were insanely good at too, and half pipe, like, and you're riding under those, shitty conditions, and you're willing to do a 12 in those, it's like full bluebird day on a contest day, it's going to be game on. Or if you have to go and drag that into like filming, it's going to be pretty easy to turn on the switch when you go to filming, which it's different, but for the most part. Yeah. So the transition from contest riding to backcountry, you mentioned that you did like backcountry and filming more than contests. What kept you in riding contests for so long? Because you did it for over like a decade.
I was decently good at it. I always had a shot at, the podium.
Yeah, you did.
And I don't know, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want to do good. A lot of my sponsors wanted me to compete, just something that I was just kind of ingrained in me in snowboarding. Like I grew up competing, that's kind of the path, that I don't know. But like, I don't really miss competing, but I miss a lot of other things, hanging with your buddies and stuff. Like Friends crew, we would always get a spot together, chill ride, like all that was great, and it was never like there's no bad vibes with really anyone competing. You're all like
That's
homies with everyone. It's not like it's not like we're in the UFC where you're just like, all right, dude, we're going down, bro. It was chill and it's fun. Just all the pressure, was felt from you. But
That's
yeah, I don't really
interesting.
know.
That's
Good
interesting that you
question.
brought that up, that it was all like friends and homies and good vibes, because from what I've heard through the echo chamber of snowboarding, so you have to take everything with a grain of salt because that's just logic these days. But people like Shawn, I heard, weren't that fun to be around with if you were in a contest, and he would be, kind of, doing a lot of things, practicing by himself, doing his own half pipe things by himself, and he wasn't really embedded in the snowboard community. And for him to be like the top tier athlete for, you know 15 years, it's kind of weird that he was never like, you had the Friends crew that you mentioned there, which was like a tight group of friends who all rode in those similar contests, that were like legitimately friends, like, patting each other on the back if they had a bad run or a good run. You're all there for each other. I was just wondering, you did compete against Shawn White for a long time. How was he to compete against, and like, what was he like to be like the face of snowboarding? Did you feel like he did us proud?
Um, I mean, dude, yeah, I've been competing with Shawn since we were in nationals together. I mean, forever. And he's one of the most impressive people to watch ride a half pipe. I mean, like literally anytime he drops in, you turn your head and you watch him because he's fucking impressive and he's sick. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, his competition, the way he, treated competition, if he's just in a whole different ballpark, whole different mental state. He didn't really want to, associate too much with his competitors, which were also his friends. So yeah, I mean, with the exception of Shawn, he was a little bit different, but yeah, everyone was pretty chill.
That's sick. And that Friends group that you talked about, you guys go on to build a headphone company. Where did that start and that idea come from?
Yeah, so we just started a crew. We just, I don't know, we just thought it'd be cool. Be like, all right, dude, let's start a crew. Like, who doesn't want to start a crew or a gang or whatever? Just a less violent gang. And so we just started off as a crew, and we started making stickers, and then we started making videos, and we kind of started getting this following, and we're like, we could turn this into something really cool, like let's start a company, and like we're all down, thought it'd be super rad. And for whatever weird reason, we came up with headphones. I think we threw a bunch of stuff out there. It's like we all listen to music, it's all a big part of our life. Dude, let's do headphones, So we started doing headphones, and then that was, doing all right. But we weren't really on the business side because we were still riding professionally, filming, competing and stuff like that. So we couldn't really like run the business. So kind of dedicated the business side of things to Keir Dillon and Sue Izzo. And they thought it'd be a good idea to do like high-end women's headphones, right? Where there really wasn't a market for it at all. I mean, like people would do women's headphones. It would be like Skull Candy with like men's headphone with like pink on it,
Yeah.
But we wanted to do like specific pieces for girls that kind of look like jewelry almost. And we kind of crushed it with that. We were in most Apple stores. We're in Best Buy, Nordstrom. We did pretty well. but we had some bad management running it. And essentially we just ran it right into the ground. That's really the story.
Love honesty there.
Exactly. We were on Shark Tank. That's pretty cool. I learned more about my company watching it on Shark Tank than I actually knew. So it's just kind of got away from us because we were riding. We didn't have time to, or the skills, to run a business, so, and neither did Kier. So
I love the honesty there. And then we ran it into the ground.
Yeah.
So for me here, I'm just going to go into my stoke, and where I got really hyped on you was the Boned Age. Like, I was always a big fan, and then the Boned Age came out, and your part in that is like a standout video part, especially for that time when park jump riding was just so dope still in snowboard videos, where now, you know what I mean? If you put park jumping in your video, it just doesn't have the same appeal, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I know some people would argue that, but to me personally, I just don't love park riding that much in videos anymore. But I did back then because a 1080 was still so special, you know what I mean? And I mean, there's a time and a place for it in every video, but the Boned Age, you had such a well-rounded part. I mean, you went to Super Park, and I don't know how you didn't get standout, that you absolutely did every single trick on earth on that fucking 100-foot jump. And then you hit that huge jump with Danny, go through the Bone.
Oh yeah.
What was that year?
Yeah,
like?
dude,
like
Boned Age. Honestly, that was kind of like one of the only videos that I was like, all right, I'm happy with this. You know what I mean? There's any other movie, Art of Flight, that's all, some of the Absinthe movies, I've just been like a bit like embarrassed when I saw it, like I knew kind of at the end of the year, I just wasn't stoked. But the Boned Age, I was actually happy with my part, and it was so much fun getting to film it. Yeah, we sessioned that booter out in with Danny out in Snowmass. It was a pretty damn big booter. It would still be considered pretty big now,
That's as big as it gets, I think.
Yeah. That was awesome. Sled laps on it, and then multiple angles. Oh yeah, we're filming heli. And dude, I ended up double ejecting out of that one on that jump.
Oh yeah.
I did like a method, and somehow I went absolutely over the bars. I take a lot of slams, man. I take a lot of slams, dude. Scorpion, like my front nose, like stuck it in like an anchor, and just all like my board just did not move and just ripped my bindings off my board. And I was so confused when I hit the ground. Like, obviously, like I got kind of messed up, and I was like knocked the wind out of myself. And I'm just like, remember like falling down the hill, and like my feet weren't attached to my board. And that's the most confusing thing in the world. Like, can you imagine crashing and all of a sudden your legs are just free floating? I was like, did I just break both my legs? And like, I have no clue what's going on. But we had to track my board down. It was like mistling down the mountain, ended up in the woods somewhere, but we literally had to like find like little skid marks, oh, all right, here's the board. All right. We found like a mile down the mountain, piled up in the woods. But yeah, man, film for the Boned Age was awesome. Filmed with Magoon. He's frigging unbelievable. Some stories out of him is just hilarious. One of the most talented riders out there too. Just an absolute gangster. Yeah, that's fun.
Do you have any Lucas stories? I'd love to hear a goon story. Maybe like when you first met him, or something about
all my good ones are not for podcast listeners. I'm sorry, guys.
I like it. Keep it tight here. Boned Age. So Boned Age was 2009, and that, like the 2009 to 2012 era for you. I mean, it's sure you had like a 15-year career, but that 3 years for me and your footage coming out, you had mentioned in there the Art of Flight, which I mean, just filming with Travis. What was that opportunity like, and how did that opportunity present itself?
The opportunity presented itself from from Travis. Travis was kind enough to just literally get me on board. And
Called you? Yo, what's up?
No, like we knew each other from whatever, from the snowboard community, you know. That was probably just like, you know, following him around. Like, hey Travis, what's up, man? How are you, dude? You guys out filming? Oh, right on. That must be awesome. You guys filming your new project? That's so cool. Could I get down? No. And I knew Kurt too, Kurt Morgan. He's from the East Coast, and I knew him when he used to ride for like Airwalk and stuff way back in the day. Yeah, they were kind enough to get me in the film, which is pretty rare because I didn't have an aligning sponsor. You know, it was just all different sponsors head to toe. And it was a trip, man. I mean, Kurt's pretty intense. Filming with Kurt is just straight up gnarly. Like we were filming one day in Aspen. He's like, I'm not flying the chopper unless you guys are going 30 feet out of the pipe. I'm like, Kurt, nope. I don't think anyone's gone 30 feet in the pipe. He's like, I swear to God. He's like, I'm not flying the chopper unless you guys are going 30 feet. Call me when you guys are going 30 feet out, then I'll lift the bird up. But
fun
or
stressful?
Right. He's just so damn good. He's so damn good. Like he could have chose any path in snowboarding and been the best at it. Like he can shred pipe. You can shred jumps, obviously. Like I'm talking like competing, you know. He's just all around super unbelievable snowboarder, but he's also weird as hell. So it's like me trying to pick his brain, like in the backcountry. Like I didn't have that much backcountry experience, or really at all. Like that's kind of where I found my legs in the backcountry, just following Rice around. And so I'm really just trying to like pick his brain, you know, and some stuff. But like him trying to describe to me like what he's seeing on the mountain. Like he grew up in Jackson Hole. Like I grew up on the seacoast. And you know, walk to the beach from here. I'm just like, dude, I'm just not seeing it, you know. So like there were like multiple times, like we'd be like flying a helicopter and like I would just get dropped off, and I'm just like, okay, all right. So it's like down here, and then like bending around that rock there, and then that's where the cliff is. Or so like I was definitely out of my element when I was in the backcountry, no doubt about it. Obviously, when there was that's why you didn't see any, freestyle lines out of me. No big mountain lines out of me. But obviously, when we built a booter, that's where I felt at home. But yeah, it was crazy. Awesome production. I loved all the filmers, Greg Wheeler, Jared Slater, the whole production crew, and it was rad. Some next level cinematography at the time, and it still hold its own nowadays.
Buddy, that one jump that you buckled up on in the Art of Flight in 2011, that really poppy one that you broke your jaw on before you broke your jaw. What was that again? The front 10 double, or was that?
Yeah, I did a front 10 double. And then I broke my jaw on the same jump, same session. Like I did that, and I'm like, all right, I want to. Like the jump was awesome. It's like probably one of the best jumps I've ever hit. Just sent you straight up. You're super high in the air and like nothing in the landing to worry about. You know what I mean? Like no trees. You had to like land. You didn't have to land and like look out for a tree. It was just what I felt like was an epic, pretty damn safe jump. I felt really safe. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go for front double 10. I'd never done it before. Got that, and I was like, all right, I want to go switch double backside rodeo. So I was coming around, and I thought I had it. All of a sudden, my knee was in my face, and I had no clue what happened. Like I think maybe I landed in the bomb hole, or it was a little flat light or something. It came around, I just didn't see the landing, and it came up like that and hit my knee and my chin here and broke my jaw and my teeth and thing on my chin, but they call it jawbreaker now.
To get out of there after you have an injury like that, how was that experience? I mean, you're in shock, you're in the landing. How far are you away from anything, and how did you get out? Because I mean, like I can't imagine that being like a chill moment. Yeah, no, it was not. It was actually pretty scary, just because I smoked my head. I got knocked out, and I kind of came to. I was super confused at it. No, I didn't even know I was snowboarding. I thought I was like, actually literally
first thought is I thought I was in a car accident, which is super random. But I was like, what? Whoa! Like I know I'm hurt, like, but I don't know where I am, you know. And then all of a sudden, those guys were there, you know. Obviously, knew I broke my jaw because, you know, pretty obvious to tell. But I was nervous because I hit my head really hard. That I've had delayed concussions before, where they don't, like, you hit your head at first and you feel all right, but then your symptoms start getting worse and worse until you almost don't even know where you're at, or you don't know where you're at. So I didn't want. We were like 20 miles, you know, out in the backcountry, snowmobile ride, and it wasn't on a cat track the whole way. You know, like you had to do some side hilling and some aggressive sledding, or enough where like you couldn't, you know, you couldn't double out there, you know, with someone who wasn't on it, you know. So I just wanted to get out of there in case I had a delayed concussion. So it was definitely a little bit scary, and yeah, a little intense, but that all, you know, all comes with it.
You fizzled that into a crazy year though, because I feel like, is that the same year you went to X Games after and you got a gold for your method too? Is that why your jaw was broken at X Games?
Yep. So I had that was the same year. I think it was a couple of weeks after. I got a gold for best method, and then I think I got a silver in pipe, or second in pipe, that year too. So yeah, I had my jaw wired shut, but it really wasn't doing anything because I broke my jaw in 2 different places. So it was just a free floating gap. So it wasn't ever going to heal unless I got surgery. But I never ended up getting surgery because it was where they'd have to go in. There's a bunch of nerves there and a big artery, and no doctor, no surgeon would touch it. And everyone, like, I went to like multiple spots. So I just kind of had to go to the dentist, get all my teeth realigned, because my jaw only, you know, is only hinged here. So when I open my mouth, it goes like to the side.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, does it still? Are you showing, or does it still do that?
What's that?
Does it still do that on purpose, or were you just demonstrating?
No. Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, like, I kind of did that for effect, but yeah, it kicks off to the side.
Oh my God, dude, that sounds like a gnarly injury, especially like, when you're a park kid and you transition to the backcountry and you have like that perfect jump, you get your front double 10 on it, you're all juiced, you're shooting with Travis Rice, you want to get the switch back, you're just fired up, you're like, this is my moment, kind of like the crippler again. And then you just get dummied because there's like this thing called bomb holes. Like if that was POW, you would have just been fine, but you landed. I watched it a few days ago, and it's like, yeah, you just land straight into the one section where like multiple people have landed. And now for me, and I'm 100% not comparing my pathetic career to yours in any sense, but like when I hit a backcountry jump, if there's multiple bomb holes, like 1 or 2 in that area, I'll do everything in my fucking power to avoid those at all costs, because
totally.
I mean, anyone who's been in the backcountry long enough, you land in someone else's hole, everyone's like, it's POW. It's all that POW now is just a crater. It's like, it's gone.
Totally. I know. But then like there's some people who are so good. Like I'm kind of the same way, where like I would do my best to avoid bomb holes, but on some jumps, you know, whatever, like you land in a bomb hole, it's not that serious, you know. But some jumps you're like, no, like I can't land a bomb hole, you know. But then there's some jumpers like out there who just like are so good at picking a line, and they can land in between the track, like here and here, you know, and find that sweet spot. And like they meant to do that, like while doing, you know, a cab 10. It's like, what? Yeah. Like that's pretty, that's almost as impressive as doing the cap 10. Big time. Like just like literally hitting that little sliver and stomping.
The sliver is tough, you know, the whole landing's bombed out, and then there's a 5-foot strip sitting in the middle, and you're like, oh my God, okay, I want to go front 7 tail, but if I land a little bit to the left, there's a rock. If I go to the right, there's a tree. If I go in the middle, that's all the bomb holes. I just got to get that sliver.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't sound easy. It's like the hardest thing in the world. And when you see somebody lace that sliver, that exact trick actually happened this year. I was shooting with my buddy Chris Rasman, and there was one sliver left in the landing, and it was a really, really tech jump. Like it was sick, but it was really hard to ride. The in run was crazy. You had to do a crazy dog leg into it. And he was spinning the opposite way. And if you drift, you die. And if you don't, you look like you went small and the jump sucks. So he had to do a massive front 7 tail, and he lands in the sliver. And it's one of the best sliver catches I've seen. It was just as good as the 720.
Chris is an animal. He's so damn good.
Yeah,
all you Canadians up there are fucking good. You boys know how to throw down up there.
Some people do, some people don't. You know, I could, you know, there's lots of room for improvement. For some. You know
so you mentioned earlier, what trick do you want? That you're going to. You're gonna lighten up. You're gonna get into shape. You said a couple tricks eluded you last year that you want this year.
Oh yeah, big time,
dude. What do we got? What do we got on the menu for next year?
Honestly, dude, if there's 2 tricks I really want to film, I just want to get a big front 180. You have a great front 180 melon in one of your video parts. Fuck, it's sick.
Thank you.
Fuck, what was that?
All right, so we talking what grab? Are we go or no grab?
No grab, melon or indie.
Nice.
Or tail, but it's really hard to do the tail. So you bring up your back foot enough so your board's level.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do a front 180 melon with a tail grab. That would be, you know what I mean, with the same poke. That would be really sick. And then I've been doing these like weird switchback 3 kind of indie pokes. You actually have a really, you know how you do your back 3 indie pokes that you have one, it's a staple trick of yours in the backcountry, I'd say, is back 3, and then you indie nose bone the shit out of it. I've been trying to do, I do them all the time in the park, and I've tried them a couple times in the backcountry.
That's a tough one, man.
I got them. I've had them first try, but it's just I either knuckle, so it's like not big enough, or I don't know. So I'm striving for the front 180 and the switchback 3. I also want to like switch ollie a cliff just with no grab.
Yeah.
And open my jacket like Mark Frank. No, I'm kidding. But like that's in my head. I have some sort of like Back in Black part kind of music coming in my headphones.
Yeah,
when I'm doing the switch ollie. So
dude, a switch ollie would be awesome.
I don't have the fast spins, man. I'll call myself out. I went to Super Park back in the day, the same one that you hit in the Bondage, and similar. I did a front 10, and both of my feet ejected out of my board. One of my bindings ripped out, and I tumbled down the landing, similar to your.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to like jump onto your story.
I know,
but I know the feeling. It happened at a similar time, and I was riding Tech 9 stuff, so I'm imagining some of their stuff probably wasn't that dialed or whatever, and I almost died. Yeah, so I mean, I've been there, bro. But I realized I wasn't good at spinning fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've always looked up to like the Mark Franks and the Devin Walshes and stuff like that. Too. And the Danny Casses. I mean, Danny did spin fast, and so did you. But I've always liked like the air to fakie where you melon and then you really. That's always been my favorite thing. It's been my cup of tea since day one. So that's just what I'm striving for. Nothing too crazy in the backcountry, but at the same time, hopefully somebody will watch it and go like, sick, you did a front 180. That's awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll work on it. Art of Flight, though, I'll quickly bring this back to that. Mark McMorris and you session, that infamous park jump, you guys both stand out. I mean, you have switchback 10, switchback 12 on it. McMorris, he does his triple, you know. He's probably 7 years old when he's doing this in comparison.
Yeah, right.
What was it like to ride with Mark when he was like a little child?
Fresh out of the womb. It's funny. It's like
fresh out of the womb.
I still look at Mark like we're kind of like that. I don't know. Like, I'm like, oh, damn. I'm like, wait, hold on. You won 30 X Games medals? That's a trip. Like, what? He's so damn good. He's so clutch. It's crazy. I was just hanging with him out in Costa Rica for Danny Davis's bachelor party, and got to spend some time with Mark, and he's the man. I love him.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. How was the Danny Davis bachelor party? Good times?
Dude, it was a great time. Yeah, we all we had like a mob of people. We had 16 people, Flew down. We got 2 big houses, and then we just surfed. It was in front of a surf break, and we surfed a bunch, and then partied a bunch, and surfed and partied, and then we bounced. It was freaking great.
I saw. Did Ejac go to that? I swear he
Yeah.
posted a video. Yeah, nice.
Yep. Ejax went. Yeah.
That's a nice family reunion after a long COVID stint where you're not seeing any of your homies and stuff like that, and everybody's locked inside and getting in their heads and contemplating everything. When you get the band back together like that, that must have been fucking top notch.
Yeah, dude, it was great. It was yeah, it was cool.
Snowboarding
took me a week to recover, but you know.
A week? Yes.
No, I don't know.
That's just drank like 1,000 beers. Yeah, I feel you. We had a little get together the other day with our crew, which we haven't hung out for a while, and we smashed some beers back for about 4 days. And I was tired and groggy for like 5 days. I was like, I am no longer like in my mid-20s where you're just like, you bounce back from drinking for 4 days like it's nothing. I was just like, I'm a tired piece of shit. And I just can't, you know what I mean? I was like, I thought I'd be tired for like a day or two. I didn't realize that I would be just such a shitty human for like 5 days.
Yeah,
like
like
my girlfriend's like poking me with a stick. Like, what, are you all right? Like, what are you doing? Like, I was like, I'm recovering. And it was until I like had a big day where I like did like a big run and I worked out and did some stuff outside that, you know, all the toxins got sweat out, and then I felt amazing, you know?
Yeah, you got
like,
it. Yeah.
Not all of us have the luxury like you have of cutting the grass, you know what I mean? If I could cut the grass when I was hungover, great chore if you're hungover.
Oh yeah. Mowing up, laying down stripes. I brought my 1-year-old on the lawnmower today because he's obsessed with it. So he's got his little earmuffs, dude. Set him on my lap, dude. Just teach him how to lay down some stripes. Just gave him the controls for a little bit. Just held on.
I could talk about cutting grass all day. It's like by far one of the funnest things in the world. Looks like shit when you start, and then within a couple hours, your lawn looks top notch. Within like 2 hours.
I know. And
so worth it.
You take a step back and just look at it. And you go, wow. Place
I
looks
did all
good
that
if I take care of it.
Okay, one more question about snowboarding, and then I'll transition this into something else here. But I don't want to skip this part because I feel like it's kind of a big part of your career, especially with the endorsements that were to follow. Bronze, Olympics, Shawn, gold. What was it like to go to the Olympics? Was it your dream come true to go to that event, or did you even care? Olympics, take us through that experience for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely not like, you know, it was a dream. Yeah, it was definitely a dream of mine to go to the Olympics. I consider myself very patriotic, so I was very proud to go for the U.S. and to be running around the Olympic Village with the Team USA jackets and stuff. And it was just a really cool moment, you know, but I really wasn't expecting to get a medal. My main goal was to make the team. And the US kind of had a pretty stacked team. So it was Shawn, me, Louie, and Greg, who ended up going. Then it was a blast. We got a spot off the housing, what's it called? Oh, the village, the Olympic Village. We didn't stay there, unfortunately. I wish we did, but we got a spot there. And then once we competed, then everyone moved back to the Olympic Village. So I mean, it was a trip, but it was I kind of put down at the time. It was probably one of my better runs that I've ever put down, and I just kind of nailed the timing during my Olympic run. I'd kind of connected the pieces, but I never fully put you know, that run together. It's just kind of funny now. It's like you like look back at it and it's like, oh, I don't think you would qualify, you know, into finals doing that run nowadays, you know what I mean? But just, you know, that's where the sport, you know, just progresses, you know, each year after year. But yeah, it was pretty unreal moment when I landed, you know, I landed the run, and I knew that I'd kind of just put it down the way I wanted to. And just that feeling, knowing that, you know, I was pretty certain that I was on the podium. That was a moment that I'll definitely never forget. And, you know, when I ended up getting bronze, you know, I remember coming down and, you know, my whole family was there, you know, they flew out for it, you know, giving my dad a hug and, you know, we shared a nice little cry. It was a pretty special moment. Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't realize like how big the Olympics were. Like, I know you think like, yeah, Olympics are big, right? But damn, like it was crazy. It was really crazy. Like coming back home, like even like the hometown support was maybe some of the coolest. Like some of my coolest experience, like coming back home from the airport, you know, there's signs all over the bridges, you know what I mean? Congrats, Scotty, you know what I mean? Like every like local business, you know, within like 20 miles, you know, had signs, you know, congratulations, Scotty, you know, it was really cool, you know, and that, you know, that was pretty special and made me feel pretty proud. Of course, you know, when I got kicked out of the Olympics, that was a little embarrassing, especially, you know, my grandfather thought he never saw the photo. So there's a photo for anyone who has no clue what I'm talking about. So the night after I got my medal, we were out partying and some girl wanted to take a photo of her like on her knees, essentially with, you know, my medal in her mouth. Looks like she's blowing me. But so like someone sent that photo to TMZ. TMZ posted it, and the U.S. Olympic Committee was like super pissed, and they already had me like a ticket booked home before I even like knew it. So I woke up in the morning, my agent's like, "Scott, you're in trouble," and I'm like, nothing can get me down right now. There's nothing, you know, like whatever. What are you gonna say, you know? She's like, some photos came out of you last night with this chick, and I'm like, I'm walking back home, like doing the walk of shame right now, you know. I'm like, oh God. Oh, and then I, you know, so I looked it up online. I'm like, all right, it's not that. No. But I mean, you know, this is what it was. I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad, but I was definitely, you know, I wasn't representing not only myself, I was representing, you know, old people out there, old grandmas and different people of the US. So yeah.
Yeah, you were also representing snowboarding and just having fun celebrating as a young individual who just finally took home a bronze medal, and some girl asked you to do that. It'd be different if there was like some sort of like, I don't know. It didn't really look like a womanizing type of thing where you're like being demeaning towards them in any way. It just seemed like people goofing around at a party having fun that are young. And I was like, hell yeah, dude. He's enjoying life, dude. He's living it up. He just won a bronze medal. But I get it. You know, you're being a voice for old people, but you know, I don't know, maybe just the snowboarder inside of me was like, hell yeah, I brought that edge to the Olympics, and that snowboarding has.
Yeah, I was kind of fired up on it. I mean,
I thought it was hilarious. Like, cool. I couldn't imagine like you getting back together with your friends crew, like Jack and Luke and Danny and Mason, and like they must have been like, everyone must have been laughing and like, you idiot, but like, this is the best thing ever. Like, shit.
Yeah, it was a trip, dude. I had Dr. Phil trying to get me on his show, just like to pick me apart. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to go on Dr. Phil. But I did get to go on. Jimmy Kimmel had me on his show. I don't know if you ever saw that or not. He threw me, because I didn't get to go to closing ceremonies or anything, or really get the whole Olympic experience. I just went there, competed, and then flew out. So he threw me like in a closing ceremonies parade where he essentially just got everyone off Hollywood Boulevard, like SpongeBob and Batman, and everyone just rolled through. It was kind of cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What are some of the perks that were to follow after like winning an Olympic bronze? Like you said, it was bigger than you could have imagined. Like, was it one of those things that your agent's like, hey, Cheerios wants to sponsor you for $100,000 this year? And like, did those type of companies just want to affiliate themselves with you, and it was just easy cash flow at that point? Like, I'm imagining like that kind of money, especially in the States, like would attach themselves to you. That's what tends to happen when you're any sort of like winner in the States. And that money doesn't happen as much in Canada, but I feel like athletes in the US, if you win shit, get money.
Yes and no, but it was for the most part, it was all endemic brands, like all brands within snowboarding. I mean, there was obviously, I don't know who I was riding for. I think it was maybe Rockstar. I don't know who I was riding for energy drink sponsor, but for the most part, it was all within in brands. I didn't have any crazy Cheerio deals.
No way, dude.
I know, right?
You got it in Canada. You don't make it unless you're on a Cheerio box.
$100,000, dude, to crush Cheerios. I'm their guy. I eat Cheerios on the daily.
They missed out.
They did.
In Canada, you're like not even like a legit athlete unless you're on a Cheerios box. It's like that's it to kids anyway.
Yeah.
Oh man. Pipe though. Kevin Pierce. I wanted to talk about this because I know that we briefly went over how dangerous pipe is and backcountry jumps, etc. When Kevin Pierce had his head injury and you're competing at that level, how did that kind of what effect did that have on you and your peers at that point when that happened, when you realized that something like that like can happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all knew, that kind of thing could happen. So if anyone who doesn't know what happened, buddy Kevin Pierce, professional snowboarder, got a traumatic brain injury riding in the half pipe. Caught his toe side edge on like a cab double 10 in the flat bottom, and it was just kind of the most vicious fall. Used all his momentum, and hit his face. And absolute warrior. Trained so damn hard to get to where he is now. I mean, like, he had a lot of eye problems, and obviously coming back from a serious brain injury. He's smart, he's on it, and he's done such a good job. And he's also found his path in snowboard. Like he's not like out jumping or spinning or anything like that because he can't really hit his head anymore. But he does all kinds of public speaking and is kind of crushing life right now. Super proud of Kevin. But yeah, during that time, I mean, it definitely took a toll, man. It was pretty crazy. I mean, especially being there, rolling up to Kevin and seeing the state that he was in. And then, I mean, I think a lot of us kind of thought that he was going to die. I mean, it sure looked like it. You know what I mean? Got a helied out of there, and then it was gnarly. It was pretty heavy for all of us. But I guess the thing that kind of I kept telling myself is just the chances. Numbers game. You know what I mean? It's like kind of a one in a million chance. You know what I mean? Like, how many hours have I spent snowboarding? And that's kind of what I was kind of telling myself. And,
that's the best way to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've been through quite a few injuries just in the streets and in the backcountry myself. And yeah, when you see somebody get really injured, it's weird because the next time I'm like about to hit a similar feature, for me personally, I'm like, I have this like, fuck, what am I doing with my life? Like I'm about to just jump off of this thing. And then like, what if that happens to me? I got bad in my head there for a few years. Where it's weird to overcome those hurdles where you get into your head. Do you feel like there was a point in your career where you were in your head, maybe doubting yourself, and then maybe kind of take us through how you kind of overcome that or overcame that, if you did?
Yeah, I mean, I think just speaking abroad, I feel like that's the thing that retires most professional snowboarders. If I don't think it's your physical capabilities, because like, I mean, you're the same person you were at 18, maybe not as springy, you don't spring back as much as easy, but like, it's your crashes accumulated over the years. Your brain's telling you, well, maybe well, what happened the last time you did this? You know what I mean? Like you have all these, your brain's essentially trying to keep you alive. So like, I didn't really necessarily have any of that for majority of the years, but that's kind of why I kind of slowly faded out of, professional snowboarding. For me, it was just not kind of quite worth it, and that's kind of why I stepped away from being super aggressive and pursuing it, competing and stuff like that. And maybe Kevin's thing had something to do with that, but yeah.
That's interesting. That was my next question for you. The follow-up was going to be, you did slowly transition into what I would say for you and your capabilities into more like leisure snowboarding and stuff. Was that an easy transition mentally for you? And like, are your peers and stuff and your brands at the time, were they like, what are you doing? You're making a mistake? Or was it rolling into that one season, you're like, I'm going to take a step back this year?
No, it was a pretty slow fade away, but I kind of, lost my motivation a little bit to bring it to that level. Like before I was just like, I'm gonna send it, like and it was kind of I don't really kind of want to get injured anymore. So it was just, I don't know. It was a slow burn. It wasn't like anything like it wasn't a hard line that I drew, the next year, I fully stopped or whatever, but it was just kind of a slow fade away. Like I'll still go board and throw down, but I'm not willing to like kind of put my body on the line or like a head injury on the line,
Totally. Do you ever look back on that slow transition and doubt like that play? And do you wish that maybe you were still like, going to events like natural selection and stuff, which you totally could be? If you were still snowboarding, I know you would be one of the greats in the backcountry right now. Do you ever wish that you had pursued that more, or are you happy with, the decision?
I'm happy. I'm happy where I'm at right now. I appreciate that though, but no, like watching events, like literally like watching events like Supernatural was at the one in Jackson. I'm just like, oh, fuck, I would love to ride that course. And of course, like, everything filmed in the backcountry looks a little bit more mellow, like, oh, I can do that. You know what I mean? But like, I'm like, put me in, coach. Like, I really want to ride this, So like you got events like that, that happen and you're, joshing or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be really sick to have like a wild card kind of spot that, you throw in kind of like a lottery. And I think that, you've paid your dues long enough that you could be thrown into that mix. And it would be sick to see you at an event like that. Cause I think that for certain snowboarders who achieve such greatness, it's hardwired muscle memory, and that you don't just lose it. Some snowboarders do, you don't do it long enough. Like maybe some of your tricks are a little bit stiff, but my friends who are the best snowboarders that I know and the best skaters and the people that are fundamentally talented, such as yourself, you don't just lose that. You know what I mean? So I would love to throw you in an event like natural selection to see what you're capable of. Cause I mean, I think you would put on a show.
I do appreciate that, man. But dude, it's crazy. Like that event was so coveted, and it's like the people who didn't get invited, I'm just like, whoa, that's a heavy, heavy list. And it was awesome going the way they had it head to head elimination, like makes it so much more interesting. Like every round, you're like, dude, who is going to win this one? Both these guys, it's a toss up, It was pretty damn sick, dude. Entertaining to watch. The funny thing is, it's like nowadays, I feel like before it used to take me so long to get warmed up into a point, like in between seasons, right? You go out first part of the season, it would take me a lot longer to kind of warm up to where I was, but now I literally feel like I can just jump back in it. And I have been doing that. Like it's some random, whatever, like I haven't ridden in a year, and I rode out this year for the first time out in Aspen, and I felt better than friggin' ever. Like riding. Yeah, it was perfect. We were riding the X Games setup, so it was like the pipe, the jumps were all perfect. But like I was like, oh, it's kind of weird that I just jumped back right into it. And I don't know if maybe it's just extra time off and just watching a bunch, but I don't know.
Yeah. Do you feel that your love for snowboarding has dissipated at all since leaving a professional level? Or do you feel like it's growing more than ever and you miss it and you want to get back out there? Or is it just something that you're just gonna have to balance kind of with your life? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a balance, I just pick and choose my days, like some days we're not that rad to go snowboarding, a lot of days we're not that rad to go
East
snowboarding.
Coast.
Weathers, whatever. Doing kind of tricks that you do not want to do all the time. And now I'm just, go out and do the shit when I want to do it.
Totally. I mean, there is
But yeah, the
something.
love for snowboarding is still there. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna die. And it's been said a lot on this podcast with people who've been let go or have moved away from professional snowboarding. It seems to me like the one thing that most people say is, just because I haven't done it as much as I did, I'll always be like a snowboarder. That'll always be like my thing. But it's just,
Mhm.
life has blossomed in directions that were unforeseeable when you're a kid.
Yeah, totally. I know. And it's crazy. Like I was saying, like I literally dedicated my whole life to snowboarding. That's kind of all I did, all I knew, so it's like, it is a little bit weird. It's like, I'm 33 now, but like, it is pretty crazy going from like living professional snowboarding life or snowboarding all the time. That's all you do, to like kind of, riding kind of when you want to or whatever, or not when you want to, but, not nearly riding as much as I used to. It's kind of trippy, but it's good. It's cool.
What do you spend your free time doing these days then? Now that you're
Is
not snowboarding as much, and I mean, you're a very successful snowboarder. I'm imagining you have some free time on your hands because of your talents and your hard work that you've put into snowboarding,
yeah,
respectively.
man, mowing the lawn.
Mowing the lawn. What about, we all know that you're hunting,
I'm
man.
just playing.
What
No. So I'm a big outdoorsman. So I'm a big hunter. Um, that's been a passion of mine since I've been a little kid, but it's became a lot more intense over the years. I've also had more time to put into it. I just love everything about it. It's super challenging. This sounds super weird, but I love the animals that I hunt. I know everything about them, and I'm always learning. So yeah, I do that pretty much full time, and I'm actually kind of making a living out of that a little bit right now. Starting to sign some deals and starting to do that. I
Interesting.
mean,
So
I've
you're
been
getting
doing it, but I'm starting to get paid for it.
like sponsorships, etc., through like
Yep.
rad. Really cool. And what do you primarily like? What's your favorite thing to hunt, and what's your tool of choice?
So I love to hunt whitetail deer. And I'm pretty big with my bow and arrow, my archery. But when gun season rolls around, I'll drop the bow down and pick up a shotgun or muzzleloader or rifle. Well, the big thing is I love to track them. It's kind of a weird lost art. Not a lot of people do it, but I go up to northern Maine when they get snow, and I'll track the whitetails. I'll go miles and miles through uncharted territory, and you never know where you're going to end up at the end of the day. Most of the time, you never even get a glimpse of them. They could be a day out in front of you. Or you mess up, you jump them out of their bed, and they'll be gone for more miles. But super challenging. But the ones we do find up there are giant. So I love doing that, and I love bow hunting around here and doing a lot of waterfowl hunting, duck hunting, goose hunting. Just challenging, and I don't know, I love it.
Are you hunting on foot primarily, or do you have like an ATV or a quad? What's your mode
Yeah,
of
I do.
transportation?
Yeah, so when I'm tracking up in Maine, we'll drive old logging roads, and we'll look for where a buck had crossed the road. Just makes it a lot easier. Yeah, you can go out in the woods on foot, but cover a lot more ground. And that's where you'll pick up the track. You'll park your truck there, set your GPS, and and take off on it. Around here, I go all on foot, so I just hunt the surrounding towns, go to different spots, drive my truck, walk in, whatever, half mile, maybe quarter mile, a mile, to these certain spots that I'd scouted before. And I do a lot of that. Is kind of you can kind of take it as crazy as you want to. So I'm in the woods all the time scouting, looking for new spots. Yeah.
You can take it as crazy as you want to. So how crazy have you taken it on a scale from not doing it all to crazy being 10? Where are you?
Like, it depends on who's calling me crazy. My wife thinks I'm
What's your wife saying?
Well, yeah, but I was crazy when, we've been together for 10 years, but she was, she knew how passionate I was about hunting and how that was a pretty big priority in my life. So, she's all good with it. I pretty much take from September to the end of November off. I'm hunting pretty much every single day. So what I mean, like, when I was younger, I just wanted to see if I could kill a deer, right? And then I started killing, and then I really started to try to kill a buck, and then I try to, all right, I'm going to kill a buck. And then I want to see if I can fill all my tags, and then, once you achieve that, then you set your goals higher. Now I'm just trying to kill like big bucks, mature animals, and then we have a lot of deer around here. So they need the population to go down. So they offer quite a bit of tags. So there's a lot of hunting to go down, but also there's only so much meat you can eat. So I've been donating all the or majority of the deer to the New Hampshire food bank. We bring it right to the butcher. They'll do it right there. And then the food bank comes, picks it up at the butcher. And so it's pretty cool. That excites me because I'm like doing something I love and actually can help some people out.
So you do a lot of hunting. You said that you know a lot about the animals that you are hunting. When what's the best meat? What's your favorite? What's the taste? Where does it lay on the palate that is the most enjoyable game that you can shoot with an arrow? If you're in your dream, you have I'm coming over. Jody all the way from Winnipeg's coming over for some meat. What's the top notch?
Dude, I'm gonna go with like we're not gonna be eating big game. I'm sorry, Jody, we're gonna have to feast on some wood ducks and some teal. Yeah, these little tiny ducks. Teal like pretty damn small. Wood ducks are medium-sized duck, but absolutely delicious, super good. And we're just gonna wine and dine on that, dude. Maybe crack a bottle of wine, dude. Get some nice duck fillets.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to this,
videos, dude. And then we'll cap it off by waking up early morning and just mowing the lawn.
Oh my God! If you watch True Life in that, and then sign my T-shirt, we're on to that sounds good. How are we gonna duck? What are you gonna put on it? Because I'm annoying with my spices and herbs, and I feel like a lot of people they throw thyme. My girlfriend always uses this fucking thing called thyme. I hate thyme.
I don't like thyme either.
There we fucking go. Wait,
I don't like thyme either. I'm just I would throw just a light seasoning, maybe a little bit heavier on the garlic, and maybe a hard sear on both sides, and then very low cook, but for not that long, because wild game they really just don't have that much fat like in a cow or a farm raised chicken. All the fat is pretty much kind of marbleized right within the meat, and a wild game really just they're super lean. They really don't have any fat, so they're insanely healthy as well. But you can't cook them that long because they don't have that much fat, and they'll cook super quick.
So you don't eat like shitty grocery store meat. You're eating top notch.
Yeah, I don't buy any meat at all, except when I'm out if I'm at a restaurant, I'll have I'll have a steak or something like that. But for the most part, I mean, not for the most part, but I don't buy any grocery meat or anything. I haven't for years. I have a big freezer in my basement, and I'll just pull from that and eat wild game.
I'm down. I want a piece of that meat right now. That sounds delicious. Totally off topic. Just a question for myself. What's the best party you've ever been to? Best party you've ever been to?
Oh, dude, great question, man. Oh, hold on.
I knew you'd have a good answer for this.
No, I don't right now. That's what I'm thinking.
I feel like it was Pharrell.
There's
there.
so much pressure. That's such a great question.
Zoomies 20K or whatever those parties are.
Oh, the Zoomies 100K. Yeah, I mean that was Zoomies 1K, 100K were pretty rad. I wouldn't say they're the best, dude. Honestly, can I just give you like a basic answer? Just like any, I can't think of one right now just because I'm an idiot, but any house parties, like I'm down for any house party. Like I'm not much of a bar guy or definitely not a club guy, but I'm down for house parties. And I love to just play drinking games at house parties. I don't know.
What's your favorite drinking game?
Oh man. Well, we turn everything into a drinking game. So it could be like any sport, like I love to play spike ball, cornhole, but beer pong,
Cornhole's top. I'm a big fan of cornhole. That's a good game.
Yeah, cornhole's good.
You guys have King's Cup. You have like a deck of cards, and each card means a different thing. Drink 4, give 4.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say people's names and stuff like that.
Yeah, that gets loose. I love that one.
That one got really put on to me. I think Bittner did that. Brought that one pretty. Or maybe it was Teeny, one of the DC guys when I was on DC. That was like the only thing we did. I mean, sometimes I was wondering if we would even snowboard when I was riding for DC. I just felt like we'd just be like. Everywhere we would go, it would just rain and the weather would suck, and we just play drinking games. So I'm gonna blame my not fast spinning capabilities on the weather brought upon the booze
and drinking games in the back of the van.
Oh man, dude, thank you so much for coming on. I got 10 final questions for you, and then I'll let you go cut the grass. All right, number 1. Best style back in the day and currently.
Best style back in the day. I'm just gonna say, how far back in the day? All right, I'm just gonna give a name. Hawken, and currently, big fan of McKelbang.
Boom. Yeah, I'm a huge Mickle fan too.
Yep.
Most underrated boarder.
Either Zeb Powell. We'll go with Zeb.
Really? That's sick. I feel like he has the most hype out of anybody right now, but I'm stoked.
I know, but he's been good for a while.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
I don't know. I just felt like he just getting the credit that he deserves now. So I'm just gonna go with him.
Yeah, well deserved, kid. He's a ripper. Snowboard hero.
Which one? I don't know. I look up to a lot of people in snowboarding.
Few.
Well, Hawken, Michael Chuck, Bjorn Linus, Danny, Mikkel, both Dannys, Danny Davis and Danny Cass. Dude, the list is big. Devin, Walsh, yeah, those
are sick. I love all of them.
I've got a lot more.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If anybody ever asked me that question, I'd be like, terrible question, because I just go for days.
Yeah, I just John Jackson. I mean, dude, I just there's a lot. Rice Mueller. I mean,
yeah.
And
there's so many niches. You know what I mean? There's people that inspired you to maybe learn a specific trick. There's people who inspired you to start to dress differently. There's people who inspired you to film video parts instead of doing contests. There's people who inspired you to just be a good role model in snowboarding. It's just like the avenues.
Well said, Jody.
Yeah. Snowboard movie you watched the most. Kind of went over this, but
yeah, I would say I'm just gonna go True Life.
Dopest brand.
I'm gonna go Mine 77, Jake Burton's sub brand.
Cool. Super sick. Good plug. Favorite terrain and why?
Like an epic powder day, not a shoot, but a decent run with like some good banks on the side. No jumps, no cliffs or anything, but just mobbing down pretty steep and just being able to blast off slashers on each wall. And I only say that because I've had like one of those runs before and it was the best run of my life. So yeah,
Where was that run, out of curiosity?
Very specific terrain. It was out in New Zealand. We got to do one day a heli. It was at this spot, I think, called the Rocks. It was like our first run. Like we did all right, let's do a warm-up run, And that was our first run we got dropped in on. The guy was just like, yeah, mate, just send it. We're like, what? All right, woo, I'm going here.
That run for me was in nobody cares, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
No,
mine was in Sweden with Sean Pettit and Chris Rasman on when Shawn had a Red Bull TV show. He paid my way so I could come and drink fine wines and enjoy the finer things in life. Thank you, Shawn. It was the best. I think we were in Lochenthal or something like that. I feel like that rings a bell. And it was like the longest, steepest run. And I just remember Shawn at the top being like, yeah, Nicholas rides at this mountain a lot. I'm like, I could tell. It was like a natural half pipe down the whole way. And it was just a blanket of pow. And it was only like a 30-degree steepness, maybe even less, but consistent. So you could keep your speed up the whole run.
Yeah.
But it wasn't deep enough that you had to worry about sliding. The stability was good. And it was just ripped down to the bottom. And there was just 1,000 blasters the whole way down. And it was the same thing.
We shared the same one. Yeah. That's amazing.
It was the best run ever. But then we had to start filming for the TV show after. And I was like, well, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to do that run again. But Switzerland isn't cheap. So they're like, Jody, you got to get to work, buddy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Your favorite spot to ride?
I'm just going to say Mammoth.
Sick.
Mammoth on a spring, sunny day. Park's epic. Hot lapping with good friends. And yeah, I've had some great days there. So I'm gonna say Mammoth.
Sick. Yeah, Mammoth's a special spot for a lot of people. Worst trend.
Worst trend. I'm not a big fan of like kind of the people who are like kind of Chris Bradshaw's sick, but the people who are like trying to copy Bradshaw, or not copy, but like are being influenced by him, kind of like some of like the weird like wiggle, like tight stance, like I don't even know. I'm just, you know what I'm talking about? You can't really put a name
I have
to
my
that.
own. I'm depicting it in my own way based off of what I just saw you express. So I can't say that I really have a firm grasp, but I have an idea.
I guess that's maybe not even really a trend, but that's I will just go with that.
Yeah.
People can interpret it that way. That way I won't offend too many people.
No,
So
dude.
wait, I don't know
You,
if I really classify as what he said there. So I'm good.
Yeah, totally. Well, if you try and make everybody happy, you in turn make nobody happy. So, people need to realize that, there's a little bit of things in life that sometimes are offensive. You know what I mean?
That's right. Well, I guarantee you I offended thousands of people with my hunting. So
Oh, I know. I'm
right there.
I'm pro hunting as long as it's sustainable and you're eating the meat, and the fact that you're also killing that and then giving it to people who can't afford to eat that meat. I'm all for it. You know what I mean? If you want to be vegan, I'm down. Only thing I'm not down with is just being shitty about your food. So you know what I mean? Like if you're
I'm not either, man.
If you're supporting fast food, you know, that's more the problem than somebody going out and hunting and sustainably collecting that meat, especially that you noted at the beginning that you have an appreciation for the animals that you're hunting, and you're not just going out and slaughtering and leaving them, their corpses there to rot, and you're actually like using the material. I'm all for that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Favorite clip that you've filmed?
That I actually filmed, or that I was snowboarding
No,
in?
we don't care about we don't care
Dude, because
about
I did
what
a
you filmed,
mean
bro.
follow cam. No.
What are you most proud of? Maybe that's a better way to put it. Something that in your snowboard.
I would go in my boned age part. I did maybe a switch alley of rodeo on the pipe, and I can't really do that.
Yeah.
Every time I tried it since, I would land flat, like in the middle, but I landed on that one. So I'm gonna go with that.
That's sick that you mentioned that, because I noticed on that clip that you do it so good and you go so big, but you almost bottom out and you have the sickest landing style on it. It's not like a typical pipe landing, because you wouldn't be able to flow into the next thing. I don't think is
right. Yeah.
but it's like I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that trick really like that. It was the sickest. I love your back leg on the landing. It's more of like a park jump kind of landing, but I noticed that clip because I watched it like a couple days ago and I was like, that's the sickest thing ever. Also, your cab 10 that you do at Super Park was really sick. Cab 10 Indy.
Cab's my kryptonite. Appreciate that.
Oh, dude, the landing on that cab 10 looks like a front end. And your Indy poke is the best. Dude, you need to film another video part, bro. What are you doing?
So
Get off the lawn.
This podcast. This is great. This is great.
I'm just going to sit here and pump your tires until your head explodes.
Yeah, dude.
All right. Number 10, the last question. Who is the GOAT?
Oh, man. That is another super tough question, man. Why do you All right. I think I've already said his name multiple times. It's Terry Hawkinson in my eyes, just because I don't know how old the freaking dude is. He's like 50 and still crushes it. He's still unbelievable at snowboarding. So that alone, and then obviously was the forefather crushing when he was younger. I'm just gonna say him.
Terry. He's got let go by Burton, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. I mean, he's been on them for 1,000 years. Eventually it's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta let go sometime.
How long were you on Flow for? You started riding Flow in like the early 2000s. You must have been on them for a decade.
I was on Flow for a while, and it was good, man. I had great times with Flow. So with my good buddies Andrew Muddy, who's the team manager, dude.
They needed
Flow videos and traveling with those guys. I mean, it was.
I always felt like
a lot of great times.
You were Flow. Like without you, Flow would have just been the worst thing ever to me. I just was never a big Flow fan. They obviously didn't do a great job of coming into the Canadian market. And I was never like, Flow's sick. But I always was like, I got a bit of respect for them because the sickest dude ever is on them. So like to me, you were like holding that whole company up. Like, and then and my homie Scott Brown, who rode for them.
Oh yeah,
was
Scott's the man.
Sickest.
Yeah, dude, Scott's super dirty.
Yeah, he was really, really fun to watch. And it was people like you and me that are a little bit more extroverted that can, keep conversation flowing easy. I mean, if you watch any of your old videos, I mean, just truly a funny personality in snowboarding. But Scott is an introvert. He's shy and he's quiet, and like unless he's drinking, he's a shy kid. And I feel like when snowboarding transitioned into this promote yourself, Instagram, you have to be your own personal marketer. He just couldn't do that because that's not what he's about. But he is so talented. So it was devastating to watch somebody with so much talent just not get that
Totally.
I would have liked
Yeah,
his,
he would do
his
some
windows.
stuff that I couldn't even like wrap my head around. You know, like what?
Yeah, that
super
Flow movie.
talented boarder, but I hear that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, hopefully it transitions a little bit out of that. I think it has. Snowboarding's going into a little bit of like, you can do whatever you want in snowboarding now, and it's accepted, and there's no real like formula. I mean, your generation maybe had the most like concrete formula. You know what I mean? It was just like, this is how you become a professional snowboarder. You follow the fucking recipe or it's not going to work. Now it's just like you could smoke bongs all day and I don't know, tic tac around on your snowboard. And if you put it to like a weird little pump track, a little rapper track, you know what I mean? You have someone's gonna give you money.
That's it, dude.
With zero talent.
Dude, I might get back in the game actually.
Dude, I could reinvent you. We're gonna get you with a tight stance. You're gonna wear super baggy stuff. And you're gonna carry a bong in your hand. You're gonna have a bong in your hand at all times.
Done deal, dude. It's like Fridge, you know, the dude who rides with a backpack at all times. No, I'm gonna one up him. Riding with a 6-foot glass bong, dude.
I think you could one up with him. You could one up Fridge by putting a 6-pack in your backpack. Cause I think he just rides with an empty backpack, which is, I don't know if it is, but if there's nothing in that backpack, like Muska did it, dude. Like, I don't know.
No, dude, it's foam, dude. It's foam. So if you eat shit, dude.
I don't know. I think he could ditch the backpack. I'm at that point. I'm good with the backpack. But I mean, he is sick as fuck. But
yeah, he's unreal.
Yeah. All right, dude. Thank you for coming on.
That was fun.
Thanks for all your years of dedication to the snowboard stick. You know, when you did snowboarding awesome. You're you're a sliver of the many people who've contributed to what snowboarding is, and you did it good. And you know, now that it's not your focus anymore, you can look back and pat yourself on the back for being fucking, you know, somebody that lots of people, including myself, looked up to and drew inspiration from, because you know, you did your grabs like you were an amp too. You know what I mean? You ever play that game? As the best.
I really appreciate that, man. That's honestly some very kind words, man. That means a lot. It really does. Yeah. Love to hear that. So I appreciate that.
You got a big fucking crew of people that were and still are big fans. So, you know, keep it up, and looking forward to you posting some shred clips this winter. And, you know, when I do inevitably come to the East Coast, I'm looking forward to our duck meal with fucking no time, with a glass of red wine, and I'll fucking cut your grass. All right.
Epic.
Peace.
Dude, that was a real pleasure. That was awesome.
Thanks again.